Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Harihi Om. Dhyayamo dhavalavagunthanavati Tejomayim naishthiki Snigdha pangavilokinim Bhagavati Mandasmita Shri Mukhi Vatsalyamritavarshinim Sumadhura Sankirtanalapini Syamangim madhusiktasuktim Amritanandatmikam Ishwarim. Om Amriteshwaryai Namah. Om Amriteshwaryai Namah. Om Amriteshwaryai Namah. Amriteshwaryai Namah. We'll continue with the discussion of Tattva Bodha. We ended the last time with the discussion about the different koshas, the different sheath that the human body had. We discussed the first four of the five. We discussed Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, and Vijnanamaya Kosha. We discussed all these four. Annamaya, Anna translates to food, the food sheath, the physical body, the gross body that is constituted of the food that we consume, that which comes into being from the food, one that is sustained through food, one that perishes as food and again mixes onto earth. And then Pranamaya Kosha refers or is related to the subtle body. Prana, the vital forces, the vital air that we have, the five pranas which we discussed. So the sheath of the vital forces within our body which help the various organs of our body to function. Then Manomaya Kosha, Manaha, the mind. So the sheath of the mind which constitutes of the mind and the five organs of perception, the five sense organs. That is the Manomaya Kosha. And then we discussed Vijnanamaya Kosha, similar to the Manomaya Kosha. It's the intellect and the five senses, again associated with the subtle body. So these are the four we discussed. So the Annamaya Kosha associates with the gross body. The other three, Pranamaya, Manomaya, and Vijnanamaya, associates with the subtle body. And finally, we're coming to the fifth one. The fifth one being Anandamaya Kosha. So, need to go down. Go down. Vijnanamaya has done the next one. So the next question is Anandamaya Kah. What is Anandamaya? Ananda refers to the can be translated to bliss. So the Anandamaya Kosha, this sheath, the sheath of bliss. What is the sheath of bliss? That's the question posted. And the response is Evameva Karana Sharira Bhuta Vidyastha Malina Sattvam Priyadi Vritti Sahitam Sat Anandamaya Koshaha. Evameva Karana Sharira Bhuta Avidyastha Malina Sattvam Priyadi Vritti Sahitam Sat Anandamaya Kosha. The response is, this is Anandamaya Kosha. That's the very last part of the verse. Anandamaya Kosha. This is Anandamaya Kosha. This is the sheath of bliss. What is it? is in the first three part of the verse. It says, Evam eva. Evam, thus. Eva, exactly, or this is how it is. Evam eva. What? Karana Sharira. Karana Sharira, we discussed the three types of bodies. The gross, the subtle, and the causal. The gross is Sthula Sharira. The subtle body is Sukshma Sharira, and Karana Sharira is the causal body. It's like the template from which the Sthula and Sukshma Sharira come into existence. So, Karana Sharira, Bhuta. So, this refers, or this is associated with the causal body, the Karana Sharira. It's associated with the causal body, Bhuta, to assume. Avidya. Avidya, Vidya, knowledge. Avidya, ignorance or lack of knowledge. Malina Sattvam. Sattvam refers to something that is pure, something that is associated with truth. Malina, something that is impure, the impure Sattvam. We'll come to each one of this. Priyadi Vritti. So, Priyadi Vritti, there are different types of Vrittis, which starts with Priya, Sahitam, along with that, Sat, the Supreme Truth, which refers to the Supreme Truth. This is Anandamaya Kosha. That's what the response is. Let's try to understand what it conveys. So let's first go with our pronunciation, going with our tradition. Evameva. Eva. So if you split it, it is Evam and then Eva. Put together Evameva. Karana. The N has a dot below it, or otherwise capital N. So twist your tongue up. Na. Karana. Karana. Sharira. Sharira. Bhuta. 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 BH. Bhuta. Bhuta. Avidya. 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 Avidyastha. Avidyastha. Malina. 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 Sattvam. 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 Priyadi. Priyadi. Vritti. Vritti. This TT. So TI would have been Vritti. TTI would be Vritti. Vritti. Two. Tas. Ta. Vritti. Sahitam. Sat. Anandamaya. Kosha. So, first reference is made to Karana Sharira. So we need to understand this is associated with the causal body. The Annamaya Kosha was associated with the gross body. The other three, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, were associated with the subtle body. This is associated with the causal body, Karana Sharira. Avidyastha Malina Sattvam. Avidya, it says avidya. There is ignorance or a lack of knowledge which is present in this. If you remember, when we discussed what is Karana Sharira. What is Karana Sharira we discussed earlier, and the response was Karana Shariram Kim. When we were asking, the response was Aham kimapi na janami sukhena maya nidra anubhuyate. That was the response. Aham kimapi na janami. I, in that state, do not know anything. I am not aware of anything. I am completely beyond the physical and the mental realm. I am completely oblivious of what is around me. All my thoughts and everything have subsided. Everything has subsided. So that state is the deep sleep state. The deep sleep state, aham kimapi na janami. I do not know what is happening around me. I'm least aware of things around me. Sukhena maya nidra anubhuyate. and I experience sleep, deep state of sleep with full comfort, with a lot of a feeling of sukha, feeling of comfort. So that's what, sorry, I mentioned Karana Sharira. That is, this is the response for what is the deep sleep state, Sushupti. Sushupti, this is what we discussed. Deep sleep state is where I am not aware of anything, both physical and mental, and I experience with comfort the deep sleep. That's what we discussed. So, aham kimapi na janami. When I am in this state, I am least cognizant of the physical and the mental things associated with me. So that is referred to as avidya, because this is a state where we are least associated with my mind, the things that influence me, things that influence me positively, things that influence me negatively. I am least concerned, or I'm least associated with any of these. So that's why the term avidya comes here. It refers to the ignorance of everything. And two, this is a state where we experience joy. Joy in the sense, joy which is not dependent on the physical things around us. So, the next term that comes is avidya, and then malina sattvam. There are three gunas that we talk about. Gunas, three qualities, or three dispositions or conditions of our mind, or conditions in which we express our thoughts, our qualities. What are those? Tamas, rajas, and sattva. Sattva guna, rajo guna, and tamo guna. Tamas translates to inertia. Tamas are those qualities, or the dormant energy that, when unused, pulls us down, is tamas. Rajas is where the energy that is expressed is sometimes beyond our control. So tamas is where you suck, everything is negative for us. Everything is, pulling us downwards. The energy, when we don't use properly, we just sit in a room. A best analogy for that is we sit in a room doing nothing, in a dark room. The mood that we get into, everything becomes very depressing. That is a good analogy for tamas. Rajas is where the energy that we express or we exhibit through our actions and thoughts is beyond control, or it is quite exaggerated. So we laugh out very loud, we talk very loud, we cannot control what we tell others. It may be hurting, it may be inappropriate, it may be awkward. All of those refer to, or are a good analogy for, rajas. Sattva is the set of qualities that we express when we are in a state of tranquility, quietude, wherein we do not get into inertia. At the same time, we do not let the energy go out of control. We are quite in control of our senses, and we express things in the right way. So sattva refers to that state of knowledge, of happiness, a state wherein we are totally under control of the qualities that we express. So sattva is that malina sattva, impure form of sattva. So when we are asleep, so when we are awake, we get into we express both rajas and tamas based on how we express our qualities. But when we are asleep, what happens? We go in a deep sleep state, right? When we are in a deep sleep state, it typically is wherein we are not affected by things and people around us. But during the sleep state, we are technically looking at it, because we are not affected by things and people around us, it should be associated with sattva guna, which is true. But it is not completely sattva. It is When we are in deep sleep state, it is avidya. We are ignorant of things around us. That is why we are very calm. We are not sad or too happy or too sad when we are in deep sleep, because we are ignorant of things around us. Had we been cognizant of things around us, we'll again be unhappy or too excited. So it is out of ignorance. So if it was out of knowledge, it would be a state of samadhi, not deep sleep. Even when we are awake, we will be in quietude. We will be equanimous. Because we are asleep, we are totally ignorant. And because we are ignorant and we are very calm, being ignorant, it's called sattvam, but malina sattvam. It is impure form of sattva. So we are talking about the bliss sheath, which is associated with the causal body. There is a sense of ignorance, avidya here, and the sattvam is impure here. The qualities that we express, which are typically sattva in nature, but impure sattva because there is ignorance associated with it. So malina sattvam, that's the term we had there. And then it says, so when we have malina sattvam, sattva always gives us happiness. The sattva qualities give us happiness. They do not give us negative experiences. When one is sattvic, the whole idea of being sattvic is to experience bliss, to experience happiness. Anything that we do through sattva guna, through the qualities that are sattvic, it draws happiness towards us. But because it is impure form of happiness, there can be 3 levels of happiness. That is why the next term is priyadi vritti sahitam. Priyadi vritti sahitam. So priya vritti is one of it. Priya vritti is one of it. Adi, we have discussed it so many times, the term adi means etc. So priyadi. Priya is the first one. The second one is moda vritti, and third one is pramoda vritti. Priya vritti, moda vritti, and pramoda vritti. Priya vritti is ishta darshana matrena sukham. So priya vritti is where we see something and we experience joy by sheer sight or thought of something that we like. The joy that we experience by the sheer sight or the sheer thought of something that we like is known as priya vritti. That's one level of happiness that we have. 2, think of a process, think of a situation wherein we are dying to buy the iPhone 11 that was released last week. Just the thought of iPhone 11, it's coming, they're going to ship soon. That the joy, the happiness we experience that way is priya vritti. Just the thought of it, just the sight of it, that happiness that we experience then is priya vritti. 2 is moda vritti. Moda vritti, M-O-D-A, moda. The first one is priya, P-R-I-Y-A. The second one is moda vritti. Those terms don't come in the text here. So moda vritti is when one feels or experiences that happiness when we possess something that you like. When you possess something that you like is when, so that happiness is known as moda vritti. So iPhone 11 is released, the very thought of it gives us happiness. But then we actually go into the Apple store and get hold of an iPhone 11 and look at the display piece, and you can, just that I'm holding it, the experience or the happiness that we experience then is moda vritti. And then the third one is pramoda vritti. Pramoda vritti is the happiness that we get or the joy that we get when we experience the object that we like. So the first one is just the sight or thought. Second one is possession. Third one, the third level, pramoda vritti, is where we actually experience it. So we buy the iPhone 11 and start using it. The happiness that we draw through that is pramoda vritti. But this is malina sattvam. This is impure form of happy, the feel of joy or bliss, because after some time you're going to feel unhappy about it. Then you think about iPhone 12. So, coming back. So, evameva, what is anandamaya kosha? Evameva karana sharira bhuta avidya. So, karana sharira is associated with the causal body. Avidya, there is sense of ignorance. Malina sattvam, the sattva, that is impure in nature. Priyadi vritti sahitam, which is influenced by the three levels of happiness or three levels of joy that we experience. Sat Anandamaya Kosha. That is Anandamaya Kosha. That is the innermost sheath. The outermost sheath is gross. This is the physical body. Then the next three inner sheaths are with the subtle body, wherein they are not as physical in nature but are associated with our senses and our thoughts, our senses and our intellect. And then the innermost is where we are drawing away from the physical world, is the sheath of bliss. But even that is not complete. It's not complete joy. Complete joy is when we go beyond all these five sheaths. We'll get to that point. So that is Anandamaya Kosha. Yes.
This question. So this Malina Sattvam is talking about the deep sleep state and also the three different levels of happiness as well, or
so when we were discussing about Atma, we'll come back. We're going to summarize the Atma. We are done with that topic today, so we'll be summarizing it. So when we discussed about Atma, the Atma was discussed as the response was Atma Kaha. What is Atma? The response was one that is distinct from the three bodies that we have: gross, subtle, and causal body. One that is beyond the five sheath that we discussed, and one that ever remains a witness in the three states: awake, dream, and deep sleep state. Beyond all these is Atma. But why are these three things put together? They are all interrelated. So the causal body is associated with certain sheath and a particular state. The subtle body is associated with certain sheath levels and a particular state. And the gross body is associated with the first sheath and the very first state. So they are put together. So when we are talking about the fifth Anandamaya sheath, yes, it is associated with the deep sleep state. I think these are more in terms of perceiving it for us to understand. When we try to learn a particular concept, we try to link a lot of things together so that we understand it in a wider perspective. I think it's just like that. So all these three concepts of the five sheath, the three states of existence, and the three types of bodies that we have, they're all interwoven. So when we are in deep sleep state, we experience that. We are more associated with the causal body, Karana Sharira, and the Anandamaya Kosha. So then finally it says, Etat Kosha Panchakam. These are the five koshas. These are the five sheaths that we have in our body. So these are the five Panchakoshas. So we discussed the three types of bodies that we have, the five sheaths, and the three states of existence: the awake, dream, and deep sleep state. So these were the three things with which the Atma was defined, or the response to the Atma was. So finally, it said Atma is beyond all these three. So finally, we are coming to what is Atma and conclude this topic. We are just done with this topic. Then we are going to the next part of Tattva Bodha. We are almost done halfway, moving much faster than Lalita Sahasranama. We haven't still reached halfway in Lalita Sahasranama. But so we are halfway here and we are moving on to the next topic in Tattva Bodha. So finally, we are coming to concluding what Atma is. So the next line or the next verse or next part of it goes as Madiyam Shariram Madiyaha Pranaha Madiyam Manascha Madiya Buddhir Madiyam Ajnanamiti Svenaiva Nyayate Tad Yatha Madiyatvena Jnatam Kataka Kundala Grihadikam Swasmad Bhinnam Tatha Panchakoshadikam Swasmad Bhinnam Madiyatvena Jnatam Atma Nabhavati. So that is kind of a summary of all that we discussed in terms of Atma versus these three concepts of the sheath, the bodies, and the states. So what it says, let's quickly pronounce it and then move to the meaning. Madiyam. It's a capital I or the I with a bar over it. Madiyam. Shariram. Madiyaha. Pranaha. Madiyam. Manascha. Madiya Buddhi. Madiyam Ajnanam Iti. Svenaiva Nyayate. So Jna, JN is typically the N with the tilde over it, like jalapeno Nya. Nyayate. Tad Yatha. Together, Tad Yatha. Madiyatvena. Jnatam. Kataka. Kundala. Graha. Adikam. Kataka Kundala Grihadikam. Kataka Kundala Grihadikam. Asmat. So Swasmat Bhinnam Tatha Pancha Koshadikam Swasmat Bhinnam Madiyatvena Jnatam Atma Nabhavati. So again, the response here is Atma Nabhavati. Atma, the soul, the supreme soul or the soul, Atma, Nabhavati. Bhavati, to exist, to be, Nabhavati. So the explanation here is what is not Atma. What is not Atma? Atma Nabhavati. So what is the explanation here? Madiyam Shariram. Madiyam Shariram, my body. Madiyaha Pranaha, my pranas, the five vital forces, the five vital air that we have in our body. It's my pranas. Madiyam Manaha Cha and Madiyam Manaha, my mind. Madiya Buddhi, my intellect. Madiya Buddhi. Madiyam Ajnanamiti. Madiyam Ajnanam. Ajnanam, ignorance. Ignorance refers to the fifth sheath. We just discussed Anandamaya. So that is also mind. Mind, that state of bliss. Mind, state of ignorance, the state of bliss. Svenaiva nyayate. Svenaiva nyayate. I understand this. Through our own self, we understand that. Tadyatha, that which madiyatvena jnatam. We understand all of these as mine. My body, my pranas, my intellect, my mind. We understand them as what? As mine. We don't understand that as me. It is only mine. It is not me. It is mine. It is not me. So there is a difference between me and mine. How is it? They are drawing he's drawing an analogy here. He says it is like telling Kataka Kundala Grihadikam. Kataka, the bangles, the ornaments that we wear. Kundala, the earrings that we wear. Griha, the house that I own. We refer to all of them as my home, my earring, my house. We don't say it is me. It is only mine because it is different from me. So, swasmad bhinnam. It's different from me. We all have that understanding that it is different from me. Similarly, panchakoshadikam swasmad bhinnam. Similarly, all these 5 sheath, all these different concepts that we just discussed are different from me. The Atma is beyond all this. So when we say I, when we refer to me, we should be referring to our true self. Everything else is just mine. It's just associated with me. It's not me. So when we say, so to understand Atma, so all these Atma na bhavati. All these we need to understand. This is not Atma. Atma is beyond all these. It's like the usual example that we use about car. The blue color of the car is not the car. The blue color can change to green tomorrow, or it can wear out and become a gray color because of lack of maintenance, or it could get rusted and become brownish in color. But car remains car. Car is beyond the color. It is just the color of the car. It's not the car. The JK tires today could change to Michelin tomorrow. That doesn't change the car. The car is still the car. The JK tire, the tire is of the car. It's not the car. Though the car is constituted of all of them, the actual concept of car ever remains good for forever. So the understanding we need to have about Atma is that which we refer to as me is the Atma. That everything that we refer to as mine is different from me, though we associate with it so closely. We may say, oh, I hurt myself. You say, oh, you hurt yourself. What happened? I hurt my hand, or I hurt my finger. When you elaborate it, you elaborate that I did not hurt myself, I hurt my hand. So my hand is different from me. If you stick to the point that, oh, I hurt myself, I hurt myself, I hurt myself and nothing else, it makes sense. But when we try to really understand it, we go beyond telling, I hurt myself, you say, I hurt my hand. Now it became my hand, not me. So that is what is the essence of this particular verse. Atma is beyond or is different from all these that we refer to as mind. Like the example of the things that we own, even the body, the different aspects of our body are all ours. It's not us. So that's what this verse conveys. So obviously the question then comes, tarhi, then go down, tarhi, then atma kah. Atma tarhi kah. Then what is atma? We're talking about what atma is not. What is atma? And the response is very short and very crisp. It says, Satchidananda Rupaha. That is Atma. And that will be the last part of today's discussion. Satchidananda Rupaha. That is Atma. What is Atma? Sat Chit Ananda Rupaha. Rupaha, the embodiment or the essence of Sat, Chit and Ananda. So obviously the question is Sat Kim. What is Sat? You say Atma is Satchidananda Rupaha. Sat Kim? Kalatrayepi Tishtati iti Sat. Kalatrayepi Tishtati iti Sat. Kalatraya, let's pronounce it and then we'll go to the meaning. Kalatraya. Kalatraya. Api. Kalatraya. Api. So Kalatrayepi. Kalatrayepi. Tishtati. Tishtati. Iti. Sat. Sat. So Sat is what? Kalatraya, the three periods of time. Kalatraya. Api, in all of them. Tishtati, ever is present, is ever remains true in all the three periods of time, past, present and future, is Sat. Sat refers to the supreme truth, the unchanging truth, which is true in all periods of time, in the past, in the present, in the future. So we just discussed the example of car, right? Car remains car, whether it is green yesterday, blue today, gray tomorrow. Car remains car, whether it had a particular brand of tire yesterday, today having another tire, tomorrow having a flat tire. Car still remains car. It's like the gold. Amma gives the example of gold in the ornaments that we wear. So before a bangle came into existence, gold still existed. Gold is gold. Then the ornament we developed a bangle out of the gold. It is round in shape, but still gold is gold. Tomorrow you dent it, it becomes oval in shape. Go hit the bangle against something, it becomes oval in shape. Gold still remains gold. And then day after tomorrow you melt the thing and make it into a gold biscuit. Still gold remains gold. In all the three phases of time, all the three periods of time, in the past, present and future, that which remains constant is Sat, is the unchanging truth. So Sat is to understand the essence of the unchanging truth in everything that we deal with. So we started discussing this with the example of car, telling anything that we deal with, let's try to understand what is the constant part of it. Be it the car, be it the house that we own, be it a relationship with someone. Understand what doesn't change in them and try to associate with that. Just to, like a mental practice, if we just try to understand what doesn't change in the things that we deal with, even this little, the most insignificant thing to the biggest thing that we deal with, try to understand what is constant with it, what doesn't change in it. That is what we should be associated with. That gives us happiness. That's what we are coming to. So the next question is Sat Kim, then Chit Kim. What is Chit? And the response is Jnana Swarupam. Jnana Swarupam. Jnana Swarupam. Swarupam. Jnana refers to knowledge. Swarupam, the essence, the embodiment of Jnana. So what is Chit? Chit refers to that awareness, and that awareness that has to be present in all states of experience, during all periods of time. The knowledge which leads to perfection, the knowledge of the unchanging truth, is consciousness. We are conscious of the unchanging truth. Whatever state we are in, whatever we experience, Once we have the knowledge of the unchanging truth, that is known as consciousness or chit or chaitanya. I think recently discussed the example of Amma coming back from the San Ramon Darshan hall to the house, right? I discussed how the devotee's car, in which Amma is usually taken back and forth, the Lexus car, white Lexus car, and it got stuck in the driveway, couldn't be taken down on time. Then a smaller blue Honda Civic was taken, Honda Accord was taken to bring Amma up. And as Amma got down at the house and was walking into the house, someone asked Amma, how was the drive? Were you comfortable? And Amma was least aware of why that question was put forth. Because for Amma, car is what she's dealing with. She's not dealing with whether it's a white car versus blue car, which she didn't pay attention to. She's least bothered about whether it is Honda versus Lexus. She didn't pay attention to any of these. One who is associated with the unchanging truth, that is known as consciousness. So consciousness is not a thing. It's a state that we are in. It's an experience that we have. So chit is that awareness of the unchanging truth, and which doesn't change in whatever state, whatever experience that we have. Chit. And finally, Ananda. What is Ananda? What is bliss? What is Ananda? And the response is Sukha Swarupaha. Sukha, KH, Sukha Swarupaha. Swarupaha, again, essence or embodiment of Sukha, the embodiment of happiness, the embodiment of bliss, a state wherein we just so comfortable. There is no, not even a tinge of discomfort. Sukha Swarupaha. So, what is Ananda? That, that bliss or that happiness that we experience when we are aware of the unchanging truth. As a matter of fact, any sorrow, any unpleasant experience that we have comes out of change. When change happens, sorrow comes forth. When change doesn't happen, we are always blissful. Think of iPhone 11 we just discussed about. Ever remains the best phone. We'll always be happy. But after some time, it may get a crack. The battery life goes down. iPhone 12 comes, so it becomes less significant. So the flagship status changes, and because of which our sense of happiness with it changes. So whenever change happens, there is sorrow, the room for sorrow. There is less, the intensity of happiness goes down. So that awareness when we have of the unchanging truth, automatically the experience we have is going to be bliss, is going to be happiness. So Satchidananda is a beautiful term. Sat refers to the unchanging truth. Chit refers to the awareness of that unchanging truth. If we are constantly aware of the unchanging truth in whatever we deal with, automatically the experience we are going to have is Ananda. There is no room for anything else. The moment we start focusing on Asat, the moment we start focusing on things that change, automatically Ananda is going to get affected. So Satchidananda is that ultimate state. So Atma refers to the supreme truth, the awareness of the supreme unchanging truth, and the experience that we have through that is Atma, is what it says, Satchidananda Swarupa.
So my question is more that, it's for me, it's not the, maybe it's different about this, but it's not focusing on the Asat part, but it's just you forget about the Sat part. You forget that you're that, and you just start to remember, you think you're this. So when someone says something mean, it hurts you because you think you're the mind. But you must be getting into it later on, but how to maintain that awareness is...
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole premise of spirituality, right?
Yeah.
I feel there's definitely not a silver bullet solution for that. It's a slow process that we need to develop over a period of time of constant effort. And of course, Amma is a beautiful example for us. Amma gives the example of how two disciples in a monastery, they get into a fight, and one of the disciples comes to the guru crying, telling, "I'm so upset." And he says, "Why are you upset?" He says, "He called me a monkey and I'm so upset because of that." And then the guru tells him, narrates the story quite often, and the guru tells him, "Why are you upset? I've been telling you for years that you are the true self, and you never associate with that. The moment he called you monkey, you immediately associated with that, and you're crying." So Amma is a beautiful example. Irrespective of whatever people tell her, whether they praise her or there are enough people who criticize Amma and all the good efforts that she puts in, there are still people who do very uncalled for things. She's least associated with it because she is associated with the unchanging truth. A beautiful example of how one should be. And like you discussed, like you mentioned, it's a long process, or it's a constant process that we need to, a constant effort that we need to go through a process where we change slowly. I'm sure the more and more we think about it, we slowly change, associate with our true self than otherwise. That's why I said it will be a good mind practice, a good mental practice for us to do anything that we deal with, be it the computer at work, or be it a research paper that we are writing, or be it the grocery store, what we are buying. Say we are buying sugar, we need to think about it. It's a good mental practice. I try to do that. I think sometimes it's crazy, but when you pick the sugar up from the aisle and put it in your car, think about, is this sugar, or the sweetness in that is sugar? The sweetness is different from this sugar, because corn can also be sweet. Sweetness is the unchanging constant truth. Sugar, corn, honey, those can all change. Today it would be sugar, tomorrow it would be something else. It would end up in the septic tank tomorrow. So, but the sweetness always remains sweetness. The concept sweetness doesn't change. When we drive a car, like I said, car always remains car, whether we have a flat tire, whether it's a luxury car, whether it's an economy car is just car. So I think that's a good practice a mental practice that we could do. Try to think of what is constant with everything that we associate with, even relationship, mother, father, brother, sister, girlfriend, boyfriend, wife. What is constant in that? What keeps changing? And try to focus on the constant. Then if you keep doing that, I feel we get into a practice, we get into a habit of associating, at least little by little, associating with the unchanging factor in every person, or everything that we deal with, eventually with our own self. Yeah.
So, is sugar also changing?
Pardon?
Isn't sugar also changing, or cars also changing?
Isn't sugar also changing, or cars also changing?
Yeah, the sugar is changing, right? Sugar is changing, the car is changing. The brand new car that I may have bought 2 months ago is no more brand new. The fresh new car smell is gone. The wax coating is gone. The sheen is gone. Moment I get a scratch on it, a dent on it, the newness of the car is gone. And it's 2019 model car. Next year it's no more new car at all. So it does change. Sugar does change, because sugar, the moment you mix it in your coffee, sweetness remains, but the sugar is no more visible physically. It changes. So everything that we deal with does change, but there is always an unchanging factor with everything that we deal with. But that unchanging factor isn't the supreme, because even that changes at different level, right? So when we have discussed that before, how with car is the constant, everything else changes. But the moment we think about transportation, car is a changing factor. You could have a transportation through a car, bus, flight, or whatever. Then you keep going up the level, the thing that we think is constant changes. And finally, there's only one point that doesn't change. That is Atma. That is the Supreme that we've been discussing. So, Atma is beyond all these changing factors, the impermanent factors. So, we started this part of discussion with that question, right? Atma kaha, right? Atma kaha. And the response was, Atma is, sthula sukshma karana sharirat vyatiriktah panchakoshatitah Sat avasthatraya sakshi Satchidananda Swarupah Sat Yat Tishtati Sat Atma. We discussed with that. We started with that and we discussed what is the three Stula Sukshma Sharira, what is Stula Sukshma Sharira. We discussed what is Pancha Kosha. We discussed what Avasthatraya are, the three states are. So just to summarize what we discussed, if you just go down, you may have to zoom out, go down page. So just to summarize all that we discussed in the last 3 or 4 sessions, right? What is Atma? Atma is the embodiment Swarupa of Sat Chit Ananda. And we discussed what it is not. It is not. It is distinct from the gross, subtle and causal bodies, right? The gross body, the subtle body and the causal body. We discussed what gross, subtle and causal bodies are, right? I thought I'll just summarize that. So the gross bodies, the Sthula Sharira, the gross body is the physical body. It's composed of the 5 basic elements, the fundamental elements: space, air, fire, water, earth. It's gained by good deeds. These are the points we discussed. Is the tenement to experience pleasure and pain, and is subjected to the Shad Vikaras, the 6 types of modification: birth, existence, growth, aging, decay, and death. And Sukshma Sharira, the subtle body we discussed, it controls all physiological functions and the powers of the organ of perception, the organs of action, the mind and the intellect. It's composed of the 5 basic elements. Is gained through good deeds in the past, is the instrument of all the experiences of pleasure and pain. It's composed of 17 components: the 5 organs of perceptions, the 5 organs of action, the 5 pranas, the 5 vital forces or the vital air, the mind and the intellect. It's composed of these 17 components. And then we discuss Karana Sharira. The Karana Sharira, the causal body, is the cause of the other 2 bodies. It's like a template. It's a prototype for the other 2 bodies. It is not describable. It indicates a state of ignorance, since the mind and the intellect are absent in this state. And it influences the deep sleep state. So we discussed the 3 bodies. So Atma is distinct from these 3 bodies. Atma is much beyond these 3 bodies. Then what? It is beyond the 5 sheath, is what we discussed after that. The 5 sheaths. What are the 5 sheaths we discussed? We discussed Annamaya, the food sheath, which is associated with the gross body. One which is born of food, is nourished by food and returns back as food after death to earth. The Pranamaya Kosha, the second sheath of vital forces, vital air, is associated with the subtle body, is composed of the 5 pranas, the 5 vital forces, the vital air, and the karmendriyas, the 5 organs of action. And then Manomaya Kosha, the mental sheath, is associated with the subtle body, the mind, and the 5 organs of perception. Manomaya Kosha. Vijnanamaya Kosha is the intellectual sheath associated with the the intellect, and the 5 organs of perception. And Anandamaya Kosha is the bliss sheath associated with the causal body. The happiness experienced by a person in deep sleep corresponds to the Anandamaya sheath. There is ignorance about the experience and there is no awareness of the gross and the subtle bodies. But the experience is filled with vrittis, the modification of thoughts. We talked about Priya, Moda, and Pramoda. So Atma is beyond those 5 sheaths. And then the 3 avasthas, the 3 states that we are in, the avasthatraya, Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, the awake, dream, and deep sleep state. What is Jagrat? A wakeful state, a state of experience when the sense objects like the sound and things that we see are perceived through the sense organs. The sound is perceived through the ears. The objective world is available for experience through these organs of perception. The experiences of the subtle and the causal bodies are available in this state. But we were discussing this Sthula Sharira is to experience a physical, all that we experience around us through the sense organs. The Swapna state and the dream state is a state of experience projected during the sleep from the vasanas, the impressions that are created from what we perceive when we are awake. So that is Swapna state, the dream state. And Sushupti is deep sleep state, the state of experience which relates to I do not know, and I'm in a state of pleasurable sleep. And then there is no specific experience that is experienced by the person in deep sleep state. So Atma is beyond these 3 states too. So if you zoom out, this is what we discussed. So Atma is none of these 3, is beyond these 3. Then what is Atma? The very top it says it is Sat Chit Ananda. It's the unchanging truth, the awareness of which gives us only bliss. But nothing but bliss. So that's the gist of all that we discussed the last, I think, 4 weeks, right? So I think that's we are almost half through Tattva Bodha, and we'll continue with the rest of the discussion the week after. So let's conclude praying for world peace. Let's pray to the Almighty. Sincerely pray that every being in the creation be happy, content, and peaceful. Let's chant Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu together 3 times. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om